weusecoins.com. That's weusecoins.com. UPI reports Wells Fargo revealed in a regulatory filing on Friday that a company miscalculation could be the reason for hundreds of foreclosures. The report filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission said 625 customers were incorrectly denied a loan modification or were not offered a modification, all of which should have qualified. Out of those cases, 400 homes were foreclosed, something Wells Fargo defends as might have happened anyway. The report said to make up for the mistake, Wells Fargo has accrued $8 million to remedy affected customers. That amounts to an average of $12,800 per borrower, but the company did not say how much each individual would get or how the compensation would be distributed. Wells Fargo spokesman Tom Goida told the Los Angeles Times all are receiving what the company deems is appropriate given the circumstances. Goida said, "We were very sorry this error occurred," adding that there is not 100% clear cause and effect relationship between the modification denial and the ultimate foreclosure. Goida said he could not say what prompted the review of the loan modifications. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com. Reuters reports scores of right-wing and anti-fascist demonstrators squared off on Saturday in Portland, Oregon, where 4 people were injured in similar rallies on June 30th. Police tried to keep the two sides apart as protesters chanted and hurled insults at each other. Authorities set up a security perimeter around a waterfront park, and officers frisked attendees and confiscated flagpoles and other potential weapons. Among the right-wing marchers, some of whom wore body armor and carried shields, were members of the Patriot Prayer Group founded by Joey Gibson, a conservative Republican running for U.S. Senate in November's midterm elections. They were opposed by counter-protesters, some dressed in black with face masks, who shouted anti-Nazi slogans. Portland police told people gathered in and around Tom McCall Waterfront Park that no firearms were allowed and that officers would use reasonable force to curtail any assaultive behavior. Police said on Twitter they had seized multiple items that could have been used as weapons. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
After vetting the 37-year-old for factors such as looks, screen presence, and film credits, Hollywood insiders unanimously agreed this week that area man Dennis Kiernan lacks the sheer star power necessary to carry a major motion picture. Industry experts spoke to reporters today about the Charlottesville, Virginia resident, who they say just doesn't have what it takes to crack into the A-list.
Love him or hate him, I think we can all agree that Dennis Kiernan is not a bankable star. He's got to have sex appeal, talent, charisma, and most importantly, that X factor. I should want to sleep with Dennis. I should want to be Dennis. Do I want to be Dennis? No.
Experts agreed the Virginia native and father of one does not have the widespread appeal required to secure a distribution deal with wide release, while also saying they had no reason to believe Kiernan would ever be capable of delivering the type of powerhouse performance that generates buzz at Sundance, Cannes, or Comic-Con.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live. This is the live Sunday edition, and you can call in and, well, talk freely live here on the radio. It's Mark with you.
And Darryl.
If it's between 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern Time, wherever you are, whatever day it might be, you may call us either through the telephone, through Skype, or through the Discord app. Is there another way to do it, Darryl?
Call-in line, Skype, Discord.
That ought to do it. Yep. So,
or if you're an amplifier, there's the amp call-in lines as well.
That's true. Then you will have those numbers in your email that Ian sent you, welcoming you to the amp program. I don't even know the number because I'm not an amplifier. I'm a show host, and I don't need to know the number. I guess it's probably written somewhere here on the.
It's written somewhere there.
I've got it. Anyway, the call-in line for you, if you're not an amplifier, is 855-450-3733. That's 855, and then the word free is in Free Talk Live. And
well, you've got to do 450 before the free.
Yeah, 855 450 free.
Right, but when you were giving the actual numbers, you said 855 and then the word free. You forgot the 450.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take your word for it. And the Discord chat, you just go to discord.freetalklive.com to get started with that. There's an app, or you can open up a web window or whatever it is your preference. And Skype, you send us a user request. Our username is lrn.fm, and we'll approve it and put you on the air. And those Skype and Discord, just much better quality.
Generally.
Yeah, you got to have a good mic, though.
And make sure, please, please, please make sure that if you're using the Skype or the Discord, use headphones, because otherwise, and we've had several calls recently where they're just letting the audio come through their computer and it's giving horrible feedback and echo. Use headphones.
All right. So that's the solution. Let's get into the show prep here. It looks like our good friend Alex Jones is on trial for saying disparaging things about the Sandy Hook massacre parents or something. I haven't looked into this very thoroughly, Darryl. I've
not looked into the lawsuit either, but I have seen a story from Texas Monthly. Alex Jones's attorney says no reasonable person would believe anything that Alex Jones says. So let's jump into the article.
All right.
In April, the ever-ascending media empire that is Alex Jones's InfoWars was served with its most serious threat. Several lawsuits, including one by the parents of a child killed during the Sandy Hook school massacre in Connecticut, and one by a man inaccurately identified by InfoWars as the suspect in the Parkland shooting earlier this year, both filed in Travis County, each alleging defamation by Jones and his company.
So in the one case, if you were an alternative news source, right, you would get a lot of hits if you were to say, hey, it wasn't the crazy bullied kid that did the shooting. It was this person. And
oh, no. So what happened there, he wasn't saying it wasn't the crazy bullied kid. He had a picture of somebody that lives in Keene, New Hampshire, and said, this is the crazy bullied kid that did the shooting.
That's a mistake, and I'm not sure that he's going to get in too much trouble over a mistake.
It was a huge, major mistake.
It's a huge, major mistake, but when you make a huge, major mistake, it's still a mistake. One of the things about defamation is I think it's got to be on purpose. Well, anyway, good luck to these folks. I think he probably should have cut him a check just to keep him up from suing, but I don't know. I don't know what the specifics are. I hope justice prevails in this circumstance.
The article continues. The possibility that this could derail Jones's enterprise was real. Defamation cases against media companies are hard for plaintiffs to win, but InfoWars is no ordinary media company, and the charges reflected practices far outside of traditional journalism. That's not an accident. Jones's brand is built upon the idea that he's a lone crusader against the mainstream media, telling his audience bold truths about a world he claims lies to them constantly.
Yeah, he had Ian and I on at one point or another and was trying to convince us that there is a global Quaker conspiracy. At the time, Ian was identifying as a Quaker. I am a Quaker and have been for like 10 years.
Hold on. So what's the globalist Quaker conspiracy? To leave everybody alone?
Well, no. Quakers are
Quakers aren't violent people.
No, but they are liberals, right? And Alex Jones is the opposite of that. I'd call him ultra-right. And
yes.
So therefore, they're certainly not going to agree on stuff. The Quakers have organizations, that they've put together, lots of acronyms that float around, and they advocate for things. In many cases, they advocate for things that I would say aren't in line with Quakerdom.
Okay.
So if your Quaker organization is out there advocating for environmental stuff, well, a Quaker organization is supposed to represent, at the very least, all of its monthly meeting. And I wouldn't necessarily agree with everything that some environmental person might say. When they floated around that picture of the starving polar bear relatively recently, I said, this is a fake. And turns out now they're having to apologize for it. That doesn't mean that I think that every environmental thing that they put out there is nonsense, but some of it, I can say this. If you're making a prediction, if you're an environmental person making a prediction, you are likely going to have to withdraw your foot from your mouth somewhere in the relatively near future.
Right. So what's the Quaker conspiracy again?
That was just it. Basically that they're liberals and stuff.
Okay.
He didn't have anything on that one.
Okay, because
you're not going to get a fight out of me,
right? I'm just trying to figure out, like, what's the conspiracy? So, like the globalist conspiracy is there's a group of people that control you.
Yeah,
you don't see the puppet strings, but they're there, and I'm just trying to expose the puppet strings. Like, that's the globalist conspiracy.
Quakers are liberals that have lobbyists.
Okay, let's continue with the article. It says for about the first decade and a half of his career, he did so very much as a fringe character in the media landscape, an Austin-based outlaw spouting off conspiracies about black helicopters, vaccines, the CIA, and 9/11. His influence grew after the election of Obama in 2008 as so-called patriot groups and militias took hold around the country, and Jones's theories and aesthetics found a much larger constituency. As it did, his business model shifted as well, from being funded largely by DVD sales and advertising to turning into an outlet for dietary supplements intended to protect users from the sort of health-related conspiracies that Jones railed about on his show. With that increased influence, he's one of President Trump's key media defenders, and Trump, during the 2016 presidential campaign, appeared on InfoWars to gush to the host about his amazing reputation. Jones has faced increased scrutiny.
It's amazing, his reputation.
Last year, during a bitter custody trial with his ex-wife, Jones's attorneys had to walk a tightrope in the courtroom between acknowledging that part of his persona is, in fact, an act he plays up for the cameras, lest the jury find him an unfit father, and maintaining for the sake of his audience that he actually does believe what he says. Now,
it's hard for me to believe that Alex Jones doesn't believe what he says. I've met him, and he seems like when I met him, he seemed meek and earnest and, wasn't the guy that you would hear on the radio at all. He was at the radio convention, and he's called into this show before. Awesome. He's had us on his show. Awesome. I don't think he's a terrible guy or anything like that. But at the same time, I think that he and his listeners tend to be a little too ready to believe some cock and bull story that is trotted out. Whenever something happens.
So
everything isn't a conspiracy.
Would you compare Alex Jones to, say, George Norrie and who was the other guy? Art Bell.
Art Bell had interest in his subjects, but didn't believe everything he talked about.
Right.
Whereas, George Norrie, I haven't really listened to much at all. I just don't listen to that. But Alex Jones, I think he believes a lot of that stuff personally. 855, what do you think? 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE here on Free Talk Live.
She's such a beautiful little puppy. I mean, we walk around the block, and neighbors always say, her hair is so beautiful.
Healthy and shiny and glossy.
DINOVITE.com.
Fatty acids, omega-3s, and omega-6s are great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
I would really recommend people starting their puppies on Dynovite before they get into what I would call the misery index. Bad skin, bad ears, bad breath.
Because if they're getting all their vitamins, micronutrients, microbials from the beginning, then you're not going to run into the problems associated with the allergies,
grass, pollen, dust, dirt, fleas, ticks, you name it,
and the itching and shedding down the road.
Our vitamins and enzymes replace the nutrients cooked out of most commercial dog foods.
Dynovite for life.
This is Ed Lukasevic
and Cindy Lukasevic,
inviting you and your pets to Dynovite.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 13,000 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed secure node systems of any cryptocurrency, and Zencash now has supernodes. Supernodes will advance the decentralization of the Zencash network and ensure the utility not only of Zencash as a currency, but also the future services that will be layered in the infrastructure. Learn more at zencash.com.
Are you making sense to the boomer mindset? I'm Holland Cook from survivalspeech.com. 80 million baby boomers comprise 25% of the population and control most of the USA's wealth. As aging parents pass on, they'll control more. Boomers are 46 to 65 years old and regard themselves as midlife. They identify as neither young nor old. They're post-minivan and pre-retirement, and they don't like being called boomers. They think me. Many of the purchases boomer couples make are individual purposes. They've been experimenters all their lives. If you want their attention, tell stories and keep it simple. If something seems complicated, boomers can dismiss it as, I don't need this. And if you're looking for work, you may be applying to a boomer, so relate accordingly. From survivalspeech.com, I'm Holland Cook.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's post pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click get notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
Should you be able to earn an honest living free from senseless government interference? The Institute for Justice thinks so. That's why we've spent years defending hard-working men and women from pointless government regulations. Nationwide, IJ has created opportunity by reducing government power, but there is still more work to be done. Visit our website today at ij.org. Let IJ take care of the government so you can take care of your business.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. It's a live Sunday edition. You can call in and talk about whatever you want to talk about. We're talking about the radio phenomenon known as Alex Jones. And I think it's worth pointing out that this guy started not too long before Free Talk Live did. And he may not have stretched across the radio quite as well as FTL did. But man, on the internet, Jones is king. And he is attributed to some extent with Trump's election. I mean, you could attribute basically it was such a marginally close election that you could basically attribute it to anything, the length of his ties or, that Hillary Clinton's get up one time that looked like Kim Jong-il or whatever it is that you want to attribute it to. You could, but it's no doubt that when Alex Jones gave his, if Alex Jones had said, you got to vote for the libertarian, that would have in all likelihood caused hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people, probably hundreds of thousands, to vote for the libertarian instead of Donald Trump, thus throwing that election to Clinton.
I don't necessarily know that Alex Jones's endorsement one way or the other through hundreds of thousands of votes.
How about tens of thousands? Are you willing to say that?
I don't know, because I don't know how, I know that his fan base...
millions of downloads.
Yes, he gets millions of downloads, but some of those people might just listen because I can't believe what he's going to say next. That guy's bat-ass crazy.
I've lost co-hosts.
Hold on.
Okay.
Let me finish.
Go ahead.
There are also people that are loyal, and if he says, put...
Buy Cal-Ben real soap because Cal-Ben real soap
lead-based paint in your underpants. They'll put lead-based paint in their underpants because it keeps the TSA from seeing your junk when you go through the x-ray machine. But at the same time, there are some people that, let's call them principled non-voters that are also fans of Alex Jones that will not vote one way or the other. And I don't know what percentages of his fan base fall into those various categories.
I don't either.
So I'm not willing to say hundreds of thousands or even tens of thousands, but it would definitely be some number.
Yeah, well, it would be some number. I'm going to go, I'm confident with tens of thousands, and maybe I was going out on a limb with hundreds of thousands, but I don't think...
it's definitely not millions.
I wouldn't say millions, but he gets millions of downloads probably across his platforms. He probably gets 1 million downloads in a month.
Probably.
Well, shoot, Free Talk Live gets 100,000 in a month, so yeah, he gets millions of downloads in a month.
Let's explain again why we're talking about this.
We get millions of
guy.
Downloads, but we get millions of downloads in the course of a few years.
So he's back in the news because he's back in court. So you might recall, I forget, and the article mentions it, when he was in court for the custody dispute. And his lawyer was walking this
That's
sort
not
of...
this case. That was the previous one.
Correct. That's why I said he's back in court. But you might recall he was in court for that custody dispute, and the article said that his lawyer was having to walk a tightrope in court between acknowledging that part of Jones's persona is in fact an act that he plays up for the cameras because, he can't be seen in the eyes of the custody court as being an unfit father. But the lawyer also had to maintain, for the sake of Jones's audience, that he actually does believe what he says.
Okay, so look, I mean, to some extent, me on the radio is an act because I wouldn't talk to, if my wife brought over a friend who's like, oh, what do you do for a living? Well, I'm a nationally syndicated talk show host. Oh, really? What do you talk about? Well, instead of doing Republican or Democrat talk, we do libertarian talk. Oh, well, tell me what libertarianism. I wouldn't necessarily, project my voice the way I project my voice. I wouldn't necessarily say that, look,
right. So
Republicans believe the lie of fiscal solvency that the Republican Party says, and then the Democratic Party is just a bunch of functionally economically illiterate people.
Right. So
I
you're
wouldn't
taking
say
yourself
that to her.
And you're turning it up to 11.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
If you will.
It's me.
But when you say things, you believe them. Generally, I unless you're quoting somebody or reading an article, like there are times I'll read an article and be like, this isn't what I believe, but this is what the article says. But he's spouting these weird theories, and the lawyer is saying, at least he was during the custody dispute, of yeah, he actually believes what he's talking about because that's what the audience wants to hear. Now, Jones is back in court facing a different legal challenge, and his attorneys are once more tasked with arguing that Jones doesn't really mean what he says on his broadcast, while also doing their best to maintain his credibility. The two suits currently against Jones will, or this article was written last week, says will have their initial hearings this week, meaning within the past few days, at court in Travis County.
I want to hear about it, but I want to go to this call, too. William calling in from Nevada. William, you're on Free Talk Live. Calling from K-Talks.
Yeah, yes, sir, gentlemen. Talk about Sandy Hook. You need to know about Jim Fetzer's book. Jim Fetzer wrote a book, and
who's Jim Fetzer? Who is Jim Fetzer?
Pardon me?
Who is Jim Fetzer?
Oh, okay. Yeah, if you know who Fetzer is. Anyways, his was
who is he?
I've never heard of this guy. Who is he?
Oh, who is he? Oh, he's a researcher. He did a lot of stuff on the Paul Wellstone plane.
On the what?
Paul Wellstone was a senator, and his plane crashed.
Okay.
expose on this. Anyway, Jim Fetzer's a researcher, and he's a real intelligent guy. And he's about free after Amazon wouldn't sell it. The title of the book is No One Died at Sandy Hook, and he has a lot of information. There's also a gentleman named...
What sort of information does he have in the book?
Okay, things like the church has been, or the school's been closed for 2 years. There's actually no, the asphalt out front has no drips on it from recent cars. Just all kinds of things that...
So evidence that Sandy Hook didn't occur.
Well, yeah.
I mean, look, I don't know whether Sandy Hook occurred or not because I wasn't there, but I tend to believe the news when they have, lots and lots of reporters going out there whose job it is to supposedly report the truth. It's a big conspiracy theory. You would agree, right, William? It's a big conspiracy theory for people.
I don't know. Let's look at the facts.
William, you're breaking up on me, so it's difficult for me to know what the facts are. Like you gotta. I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me to understand what you're saying.
Okay. If.
And of course, it breaks up immediately after me saying that. William, tell you what. I'm going to put you on hold. See if we can get you in a better cell or that sort of thing. Because I don't want to cut you short, but I just can't hear you. I'm sorry. The number is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. I think that if you're going to have a conspiracy theory, you probably should keep, if you're going to try to conspiracy, you should probably keep your group down below the numbers of 5 people. And a whole town hiding this from you sounds outrageous to me. 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE.
Hey, Dave, you in for golf this weekend?
I can't. I promised I'd find a plumber to fix a sink and a painter to paint the...
Just use Angie's List.
Doesn't that cost money?
Not at all. It's free to find pros in your area who can do the work. You can even read ratings and reviews from other customers.
What about roofing pros?
Angie's List has pros for everything. And to save time, they'll even match you to the best pros for the job.
Oh, that's awesome. Looks like I'll be able to play after all.
Find the best pros for your next project at angieslist.com.
This is Jessica Armand, founder of My Magic Mud. Our team helped organize a successful effort to remove fluoride from our city's water supply. This is our passion. My Magic Mud Oral Care purifies and brightens your smile naturally. GCN listeners, please support my family business by purchasing our products from your local health food store. We're also available at CVS Pharmacy, or visit us at mymagicmud.com and take 10% off now with coupon code GCN10.
Free Talk Live, the show where anyone can call about whatever they want. And we do mean anyone.
Jesus Christ visited every tribe in America.
In America?
She's America, absolutely. There's a book that came out.
He got around, didn't he?
He was in India.
How did he
China.
get from point A to point B?
He had quite a life.
In a boat.
So they took a boat from the Middle East all the way over to North America?
Absolutely. Archaeologists went and visited different tribes and followed their myths and stuff. And none of them used the name Jesus, but they all described him as a white man with long brown hair and a beard.
Now, why is it that Jesus is white? That's what I want to understand.
How did a white guy get born to a bunch of Sephardic Jews is what I want to know.
No.
Well, God's white, so I mean, that's how.
Of course he is.
Was the Immaculate Conception. He could make that baby whatever color he wanted to.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. We're talking about Alex Jones, the Sandy Hook massacre, conspiracy theories. We had a gentleman on the line. He's dropped off. He had a bad connection, and it sounded as though, I don't want to put words in his mouth or anything, but it sounded as though he believed that the Sandy Hook massacre was all ruse, probably to take away people's gun rights or whatever. I would disagree with that. I would say the results are true, right? Like right. Gun rights were taken away in Connecticut, and some people gave up their guns as a result. Some people left. Some people just kept their guns. But nonetheless, like everything to me doesn't have to be a conspiracy theory. Bad things are going to happen in the world.
Right.
And it doesn't always, the globalists or the Bilderbergers or the Trilateral Commission or the Illuminati or whomever it is, trotting this out, trying to convince us. And it's the stock and trade of the conspiracy theorists out there is basically one of them has to come up with some story, and then the others are hard pressed to say otherwise. Oh, well, no, that's not a conspiracy theory, but the thing I believe is. And I don't know. Certainly, conspiracy theories are a reality and historical reality. This is there's no doubt about it.
Right. There are some things that at one time were labeled conspiracy theories that have later been proven that they were actually happening, but that doesn't mean that every crazy idea that somebody has
means
is actually true.
Right, that Bigfoot's sitting in a UFO someplace controlling it. And I don't want to look, I like Bigfoot, and I suspect that it's possible that alien life, some kind of intelligent alien life has visited. I don't know, but it makes some sense to me. If there's intelligent alien life, they have either solved the super light travel problem or they haven't in some way, shape, or form. If they have, they're likely checking in on developing worlds and to see what happens there, to see if these people are going to be a problem or it's just interesting. I mean, there's the National Geographic Channel is us looking at other species because we're interested.
Right.
So maybe they've got a show out there that's like, look at these hairless monkeys and their behavior. Isn't it amazing? They love looking at they're mesmerized by LCD screens. LED.
The Onion has a thing about people spending their day looking at glowing rectangles.
Yes. So, I'm sure that's interesting to aliens with their little tentacles and whatever it is that they've got going on. I have no clue.
Maybe that's happening in one of the multiverses, but in the one that we're in, Alex Jones is in court. One of the suits that he's facing, and this is why we're talking about the crazy guy, suit was brought by...
So you're going on the record that Alex Jones is crazy?
I've been on the record saying that for a long time. Suit brought by Leonard Posner and Veronica de la Rosa, parents of 6-year-old named Noah, who was killed in Sandy Hook in 2012. The lawsuit is based on statements Jones made during a video that is still on YouTube titled "Sandy Hook Vampires Exposed." In that video, Jones, who has a history of denying that the Sandy Hook shooting actually happened, has previously argued that the massacre might have been a false flag by a government seeking to restrict gun rights. Once more, challenges the idea of the Posner family as victims. The family's argument hinges on the fact that last June, a woman named Lucy Richards was sentenced to 5 months in prison for sending threats to Posner and De La Rosa, accusing them of participating in a hoax and threatening their lives because of it.
Right. So there's these people called hoax, or this
crisis actors.
Crisis actors out there that the presumption is that they participate. Look, here's a picture of this brown-haired girl, and she's talking into a phone, she's screaming, and somebody looks like her at just about every event. Okay, maybe they just look similar. I don't know. But that's the idea. And if you believe that these crises are being staged in order to take away our rights slowly but surely by the Democrats and the globalists and whomever it is that are doing this, the people that want to wipe us out, God knows what the story is, then you would consider the crisis actors to be enemies. If you consider them to be your enemies, some people will take physical action against their enemies.
Yes.
It's probably a good idea. If your enemies are taking physical action against you, maybe you should take physical action against them. But that's where this all kind of leads. Not that I'm saying that Jones is necessarily responsible for it. I think that the problem here is that we've got freedom of speech in this country, and you're going to have a difficult time with this defamation thing. We'll see.
So in the case from last year, the court found that Jones and InfoWars had influenced Richards' thinking on the matter that, according to documents filed by the plaintiff's attorney, Mark Bankston, and obtained by Texas Monthly, the term of her sentence also included that after her release, she would be prohibited from viewing InfoWars programming.
Okay.
As a result, Bankston says this suit was brought because the Posner family cannot let Mr. Jones's malicious lies put their lives at further risk. Most of the instances by Jones's lawyer, Mark Enoch. Wait, hold on. Somehow when I scrolled down, it skipped me to the middle of a paragraph. Most of the instances of Jones painting the family and the Sandy Hook massacre as fake happened outside the statute of limitations. Bankston's arguments acknowledge those statements, but use the fact that the family did not sue earlier to refute an argument by Jones's lawyer, Mark Enoch, that their true intention behind filing the lawsuit is to silence those who openly oppose their public Herculean efforts to ban the sale of certain weapons, ammunition, and accessories, to pass new laws relating to gun registration, and to limit free speech.
And this much is true. There are people that are victims of crimes that believe that the solution to those crimes is to limit gun ownership. And you got to say that once you enter into the public realm, you become a public figure.
Right.
Speaking about a public figure is far less restrictive than somebody who's hasn't entered that realm. I don't think that Jones is going to have much luck here, or that they're going to have much luck going after Jones on this one, but that's just me guessing.
Bankston argues that if that were true, the Posners could have sued Jones long ago for any of these countless libels. Instead, he writes, they chose to persevere until their lives were threatened. Instead of the earlier arguments then, the Posners focus on comments made in April 2017 in which Jones claims that an interview between De La Rosa and CNN host Anderson Cooper in Newtown was faked and that they filmed it in front of a green screen. The supposed evidence Jones presents is that when Cooper turns, his nose disappears repeatedly because of the green screen not being set right. According to CNN and to video forensic experts retained by the plaintiffs, the effect was a common compression artifact that happens often in video encoding. That's the allegation against Jones. His defense, meanwhile, argues that while Jones says that Cooper and De La Rosa faked the interview and provides evidence for that claim that draws upon Jones's own authority with video production, he did not intend to speak factually, and in fact, no reasonable person would expect that Jones spoke factually on his show.
Period? Or about video?
A motion to dismiss the suit filed by Jones's attorney argues, quote, there can simply be no statement of fact when Mr. Jones's when Mr. Jones views a video of Anderson Cooper and provides his commentary and opinion with regards to possibilities as to why Cooper's nose disappeared, all the while directing the viewer's attention to the very video about which he is opined. No reasonable reader or listener would interpret Jones's statements regarding the possibility of a blue screen being used as a verifiable false statement of fact, and even if it is verifiable as false, the entire context in which it was made discloses the statement as mere opinions masquerading as fact. That may be the best argument available to Jones in defending himself in the suit.
Yeah, I think it's an opinion that Sandy Hook wasn't real. I just think it's a wrong opinion. What's your thought? 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE here on Free Talk Live.
I just think it's interesting that the beacon of truth is having his lawyer say no reasonable person would believe him.
There you go. Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help. Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite. Pick up 2 bottles of Lico Chops, get the 3rd bottle free. New improved Lico Chops with omega-6, omega-3, vitamin E, and now 6 extra direct-fed microbials. Even better for the digestive tract and immune system. And dogs love it. Try Lico Chops. Buy 2, get 1 free. This is Henry Lukasevic for Dynavite.
DINOVITE.com. The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH, with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com. That's wallet.bitcoin.com.
Extendivite really works. Just listen to what some people have to say.
About 6 months ago, my wife bought Extendivite. She didn't tell me she was giving it to me. So after about 3 days, I said, maybe the weather's changed or something. I said, my legs feel really good. And she goes, well, I've been giving you this stuff, and it was the Extendivite. And you know that I'm about 75% better. I can actually climb stairs now, and I can get up out of chairs. I can even get down and, I have to work under a table or a computer table and work on a computer. I can actually get back up off the floor. You know what? It's an amazing product. I didn't think anything short of having surgery was going to help.
Extendivite is only $69.95 for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid. Call now. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nestle Toll House Morsels, helping you create special moments and memories your family will cherish forever. Visit us at tollhouse.com. You may bake for birthdays and holidays, but why stop there? Sweeten up the rest of the year by designating monthly dessert days. Treat your family to one of their favorites or surprise them with something new. Either way, you'll create a tradition everyone will love. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. It's a live Sunday edition. Talking about lawsuit against Alex Jones for the Sandy Hook comments, the Sandy Hook opinions.
And also the Parkland shooting.
Yes, that's true too.
And we're about to get into that one.
You can call in on that if you wish. The number is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Bitcoin.com. I want to thank them. I want to thank them for sponsoring me at the Boston Open. I am I do jiu-jitsu. I can't say I'm great at it or anything like that, but I do it. And they're my sponsor, and I think it's awesome. I sadly lost, but I did get a stripe today. So now my white belt, instead of just being white, is a white belt with 3 stripes on it. So thanks, Bitcoin.com, for your support. And another thing Bitcoin.com wants you to know is that you can save 20, 25, on up to 33% at saveatpurse.com. All you got to do is go over there, create an account, fund it with Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash, because they're taking Bitcoin Cash now. Yep. BTC or Bitcoin Cash. Just fund the account, and you just shop at Amazon, and then someplace who wants to buy will buy you that thing, and they will trade you crypto for that thing. They'll send it to you as a gift, and it works out pretty well. We do it at my house. Ian's done it to the tune of many thousands of dollars saved.
Yeah, I've saved several hundred over the last few years.
So check it out, saveatpurse.com, bitcoin.com, your resource for all things crypto. Going on, Darryl.
So the spread of bad information from Alex Jones is also at the heart of another lawsuit against himself and InfoWars. This one filed by someone that we know, Mark, a man named Marcel Fontaine. Involves a post on the InfoWars website that went up shortly after the school shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. In the post, InfoWars writer Kit Daniels published a photo of Fontaine wearing a red T-shirt with caricatures of communist figures drinking alcohol with the words Communist Party.
Okay.
Daniels says he obtained that from 4chan. The InfoWars headline read, reported Florida shooter dressed as a communist supports ISIS. It included photos of both Cruz and Fontaine. InfoWars in the second suit is being represented by Eric Taub and Kevin Brown. In their motion to dismiss, they explained that Daniels accurately reported what the 4chan original poster and other social media outlets had reported, that the challenged image was that of the Parkland shooter. The, quote, other social media outlets, end quote, included the defendant's exhibits are limited to a single tweet from a now suspended Antifa parody account. They also argued that they never named Fontaine, limiting their liability in the case. In response to the motion to dismiss, which also asked Fontaine to pay $29,000 in legal fees for InfoWars, Bankston argues that InfoWars, if it seeks protection as a media organization, has a responsibility to meet standards of diligence exercised by other media companies. To support their argument, they note that InfoWars never cited any of their sources, which means that users familiar with 4chan's history of spreading misinformation around mass shootings or of the parody account's purpose would have to identify that the sourcing was less than credible on their own. If that were considered a reasonable journalism practice, the response argues, quote, there would be nothing to stop InfoWars writers from submitting their own anonymous messages to 4chan and then republishing those statements to millions with no attribution.
Sounds accurate.
There are plenty of ethical questions
if you're
worth
getting
asking.
your news from 4chan, you're a fool.
Yes. And InfoWars apparently is getting some of their news from 4chan.
They shouldn't.
Skipping down into the article somewhat, the article concludes there are plenty of ethical questions worth asking about InfoWars with regards to these cases. Chief among them, does a media company that spreads inaccurate information without citing sources or attempting to run basic diligence, like reverse image searches, about private citizens like Fontaine bear responsibility for threats made by their readers? But the ethical questions aren't what's being heard in court in Travis County. Rather, it will be specific legal issues around defamation. In a court, those determinations are complicated, rooted in precedents, and involve questions thornier than just whether InfoWars' approach to media is ethical or not. But regardless of what happens in preliminary hearings, which, if the cases proceed, could be followed by jury trials or settlements, they're not the end of the legal woes for InfoWars. There are 3 more defamation suits, including another in Travis County filed by a Sandy Hook parent represented by Bankston, which will receive its first hearing in September, as well as another in Connecticut and one in Charlottesville, Virginia, related to reports from InfoWars after a neo-Nazi march in the city last June. If these filings are any indication, Jones's attorneys will have to rely on a number of different arguments to defend their suits, and those defenses could serve to undermine Jones's mission.
Well, so if you look, the laws are such that all Alex Jones has to say is ostensibly or allegedly in front of some of the things that he says, and then he could just go on with his diatribes as usual. I don't think that this is going to do anything other than perhaps change the angle of delivery to some extent or another. As far as history goes, we are not in a new realm. Newspapers used to not really be news. They used to be basically opinion pieces on your side of the issue. Things changed over time. Journalism morphed. I would say matured, but
and that's
my
why,
opinion.
That's why there's a journalistic code of ethics.
Yes.
And if you're going to call yourself a journalist, you should, at the very least, know what they are and try to follow them as best you can.
That is your opinion on what journalists should do. I agree with it. However, Alex Jones and his cadre of people are not going to be interested in your opinion on their opinions.
But they're calling themselves, or attempting to call themselves, journalists, while admitting that they are not taking due diligence to verify the accuracy of their reporting, which is the first thing under the journalistic code of ethics.
So just because their lawyers say something in court doesn't mean that people are going to say, oh, well, lawyers say things. They have to say things. They're not talking to people who are woke or whatever it is that they're going to claim. Look, it is really, 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 really hard to prove defamation. And Alex Jones charges enough money for ads that he can afford a huge cadre of lawyers. I'm not terribly concerned. If he managed to make it through the custody battle with his kids, between he and his wife, right? Like the closest person to him, these people filing suits from around America, they're not going to have much going. Now, maybe he'll change the way he does things a little bit in order to avoid some of this in the future, but we're just talking about...
I don't think he will. I think he'll wind up using it to sort of, embolden his audience. Look at all these people coming after me for spreading the truth. Blah, 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 blah. I just won in court 5 times. Send me money because I've got legal fees. And these liberal judges aren't giving me the money from these guys that are suing me. Blah, 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 blah. And buy this Berkey water filter.
Yeah. I think that's the sort of thing that'll happen. Look, and
then he'll probably give one of these, and his face turns red and he'll rip his shirt off.
So Free Talk Live got raided by the FBI a couple of years ago, more than almost going on 3 now. And some of our listeners stepped up and sent us new equipment because the FBI took like 80 pieces of equipment or something like that.
Without a request from anyone here.
Right. A listener started a GoFundMe, and it raised thousands of dollars, and we got new equipment within a few days, and everything was back up and going, and it was awesome. Now, we don't cry wolf too often. So people will respond. But there were some of our listeners that peeled off at that point. This I can't listen to Free Talk Live anymore. They have had a raid over issues that are important to me, and there may be no charges. There may not, nothing may ever come of it, but it's just too much for me. Right. And they left. They wrote emails to us and they said, goodbye, that's enough for me. And okay, well, if you're going to choose to break up with us over an investigation that has not yet resulted in a charge, and we have no evidence that anyone on this show is involved in that. Like, we have no evidence because no one's even there's nothing. We have nothing. There's no accusation, nothing. Well, I expect Alex Jones's listeners will rally around him. Yes, that's what I think. 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. We are going to talk about, why innocent people choose to take charges, to plead to charges. The number, 855-450-3733. Free Talk Live.
Aging is one thing that affects everyone. George has talked about the power of stem cells for years. Now, there's a new serum that harnesses that stem cell power to bring back your youthful look. Beverly Hills doctor Nathan Newman.
Stem cells are basically our fountain of youth. This is what maintains our body's reparative, regenerative abilities. As we age, every cell breaks down and needs to be replaced, and what replaces it is the stem cell.
Dr. Newman and Jeunesse have developed Luminesse. Luminesse takes the science of stem cells, using the same growth factor complex that literally heals our cells, slowing the appearance of the aging process. Apply Luminesse twice daily, and on average, see results in a week. Learn more, watch our video, and order today at a special Coast website, healthylooking.com. Plus, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. Again, that's healthylooking.com. Luminesse, for a healthier, much younger, better-looking you. Buy now at healthylooking.com.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. SaveAtPurse.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene, the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, August 5th, 2018. Silver is trading at $15.42 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,213 per ounce. Zen Cash is trading at $22, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,985. Antiwar.com reports out of Egypt are suggesting that Hamas leadership has accepted a long-term ceasefire deal with Israel on the Gaza Strip. Israel is said to have sent officials to Qatar for talks on the matter, but whether Israel agrees or not is to be decided at a Sunday cabinet meeting. The deal is a multi-phase ceasefire intended to end with a 5 to 10-year ceasefire agreement and negotiations to follow between the two sides. The deal starts with an immediate ceasefire in Gaza, including an end to incendiary kites and balloon flights flights and border protests. In return, Israel would reopen the Kerem Shalom crossing and Egypt would permanently open the Rafah crossing. Following this immediate move, Hamas and Fatah would return to a reconciliation deal with an eye toward elections in Gaza in the next 6 months. Finally, the long-term ceasefire would be put in place with improved access to imports for Gazans. Under the agreement, Gaza residents would get access to a seaport and airport, albeit one built in Egypt's Sinai Peninsula. Another power plant dedicated to providing electricity to Gaza would also be built in Sinai. A potential stumbling block is the return of bodies of slain Israeli troops, as the deal suggests this would be a topic of discussion in future Hamas-Israel talks, but some Israeli officials are demanding this as a precondition to any agreement. The long-term ceasefire has been sought for years and has been close in the past, only to be derailed at the last moment by some minor issue. While it is not certain it will survive this time, there seems to be general optimism that this is the case.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at weusecoins.com. That's weusecoins.com.
UPI reports Wells Fargo revealed in a regulatory filing on Friday that a company miscalculation could be the reason for hundreds of foreclosures. The report filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission said 625 customers were incorrectly denied a loan modification or were not offered a modification, all of which should have qualified. Out of those cases, 400 homes were foreclosed, something Wells Fargo defends as might have happened anyway. The report said to make up for the mistake, Wells Fargo has accrued $8 million to remedy affected customers. That amounts to an average of $12,800 per borrower, but the company did not say how much each individual would get or how the compensation would be distributed. Wells Fargo spokesman Tom Goida told the Los Angeles Times all are receiving what the company deems is appropriate given the circumstances. Goida said, "We were very sorry this error occurred," adding that there is not 100% clear cause and effect relationship between the modification denial and the ultimate foreclosure. Goida said he could not say what prompted the review of the loan modifications. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com. Reuters reports scores of right-wing and anti-fascist demonstrators squared off on Saturday in Portland, Oregon, where 4 people were injured in similar rallies on June 30th. Police tried to keep the two sides apart as protesters chanted and hurled insults at each other. Authorities set up a security perimeter around a waterfront park, and officers frisked attendees and confiscated flagpoles and other potential weapons. Among the right-wing marchers, some of whom wore body armor and carried shields, were members of the Patriot Prayer Group founded by Joey Gibson, a conservative Republican running for U.S. Senate in November's midterm elections. They were opposed by counter-protesters, some dressed in black with face masks, who shouted anti-Nazi slogans. Portland police told people gathered in and around Tom McCall Waterfront Park that no firearms were allowed and that officers would use reasonable force to curtail any assaultive behavior. Police said on Twitter they had seized multiple items that could have been used as weapons. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Readers rejoice! This week, Amazon unveiled the Kindle Flair, the latest model of their popular e-reader. The improved device has the ability to loudly and repeatedly announce the title of the book you're reading so everyone knows how smart you are.
Breakfast of Champions by Kurt Vonnegut.
The hot new e-reader includes a massive catalog of titles, a sleek, easy-to-use interface, and a loud, clear voice that barks the name and author of your book on a loop. Amazon says the repetitive shouting is a small feature that makes a big difference. Readers say that with crystal clear 150 decibel stereo speakers, the Flare provides the most conspicuous reading experience yet. When you're not reading, the Flare automatically switches into bookshelf mode, which conserves power and reads off a list of everything on your Kindle.
Blink by Malcolm Gladwell, a confederacy of dunces.
And Amazon's competition has also stepped up their game as Apple released a new iPad that whispers, "I have an iPad," over and over again.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live, and you are free to call in and talk live here on this Sunday night edition. It's Mark with you.
And Darryl.
And we've got a story here about apparently, from Forbes, and this doesn't come as a surprise to me. People sometimes, because of the, I'm going to presume it's because of the system we have for plea bargaining in this country, but sometimes people who are innocent will take a guilty plea in order to, get out of jail or whatever it is that is going to solve their problems. First, I want to go to the phone lines. But, Darryl, you can tell us about that here in just a moment.
Yes, and the article actually written by a former U.S. district judge. So not just, like some guy that says, well, I sit in court and I see this. We're talking about a former judge writing about this problem.
So it may be a bedwetting liberal, but at the very least, it was a bedwetting liberal who was a federal judge.
You're
right?
assuming that just because he was a judge, he was a liberal, but...
No, I'm not assuming that. I'm assuming that the people that would be like, everybody who takes a guilty plea is guilty. What are you talking about? Like that kind of attitude would probably presume that a person who would be on the other side of the issue is a bedwetting liberal.
Oh, so you're buying into the false left-right paradigm. Got it. Let's go to the phones.
It exists. Go to the phones here. David calling in from New Mexico. David, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yeah, Albuquerque, New Mexico.
That one,
I was kind of, funny thing. I was listening to your GCN news while I was beginning to research a news event that I just heard of this morning on the national news, and your GCN news just repeated it while I was on hold here in New Mexico.
What was the story? Because I wasn't listening to the news, and a bunch of other people listening right now probably did not hear it.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was just doing just now. So there was some children. There was 11 children and multiple adults living in, poverty kind of situation in northern New Mexico by Taos in Taos County.
Okay.
And the two men are Muslim dudes, and of course they have an AR-15 and 4 handguns, and they got their wives and 11 children, and so the cops went out there and raided it with the legitimate legal reason being that the father had abducted his non-custodial son from Georgia, or one of his kids, and that's what gave the cops cause to go in there. If you a photograph of these guys' compound, as they're calling it,
it's always a compound.
Easily seen at. Pardon?
It's always
a compound. Exactly. Well, you know what? This is really funny. There's a mix in this. I mean, there's good and bad, and there's pros and cons on both sides. The people that were arrested and the people doing the arresting. Oh, first of all, just to make sure I get it in, let me make sure to note that when I heard the sheriff interviewed on national news this morning, he was referring to the conditions as being like third world. Which actually many citizens of the state of New Mexico refer to New Mexico itself as not as a state, but as a third world country. But it was notable that the sheriff of the county in a national interview, he said that the conditions were, let me make sure to get this right, deplicable. They were deplicable conditions.
Deplicable?
Yeah, deplicable.
Did you look that up?
I noticed that right. I using my self-contained in-brain dictionary, I laughed immediately. And while I've been on hold for I've literally researched duplicable for like the last 15 minutes or so to make sure that I wasn't going to be the fool here. And it appears that the highly regarded sheriff with much authority is incorrect in his use of the word duplicable. So it seems anyway. But
he probably meant to say despicable and misspoke.
Yeah, could be.
People do misspeak occasionally.
I guess
he may have.
Well, I heard the same story, and they made it seem like these kids were living in squalor and dealing with malnutrition issues and these sorts of things. Not that I believe what the news says on this stuff, but. I mean, how would I know? I guess.
Right. Yeah. Well, there's a couple of notable things here. The best photograph I've seen so far of their compound is at WashingtonPost.com. There's an aerial view of their compound, and what you see there is actually fairly common in New Mexico for people that don't have much money and are trying to live off the grid. And it's really actually it's amusing actually that. They're in Taos County, and Taos County is where basically the claim to the beginning of the structure known as the Earth Ship, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I've heard about it.
Yeah, where you use tires and bottles, reclaimed material, soil, sandbags, et cetera, and you construct what they call an Earth Ship, and they're highly regarded and not expensive to build, but once you complete it, you probably can sell them to the Hollywood crowd for $1 million without exaggerating. But what I see in this picture right here of this third world compound actually looks virtually indistinguishable from a millionaire's Earthship, else being in its beginning construction stages elsewhere in Taos County. Where the likes of Julia Roberts and that crowd likes to live, Dennis Hopper.
So there's parts of Taos County that are millionaires live in these Earth ships, and other parts where it's poor area and that kind of thing. Probably no better than Indian reservations in the United States.
Right, and another notable funny part is that the land, the sagebrush kind of land that the multi-million-dollar Earthships are upon, and where this third world poverty.
So why do you think that these police officers, these public servants, why do you think they went in and took these kids from these people?
Well, the reason they have is legitimate and valid to a degree. On its face, if the dude did not have a legal right to custody. If he was the non-custodial parent and he abducted that 3-year-old child from the mother, who is the custodial parent, and took him clear across the country, I guess I would support a law that doesn't allow him to do that. And since he did do that, that's what gave the cops legal reason to go in. And then once they got in there, they arrested him for that abduction, and then they arrested the other adult male for harboring a felon, because the guy who had abducted his own child was apparently a felon. So they arrested the two males, but like I said, it opens up on one hand, and then there's the factor that these two guys are Muslim, and so and like a lot of Americans, they had an AR-15. I'm not saying that it does, but it matters.
You implied that it matters, and I'm asking why it matters.
It matters. I didn't imply that it mattered. I didn't intend to do anything. I'm just sharing information with you. And obviously, on its face, to anybody who hears my voice, it's obvious that if you have two Muslim men hiding out in New Mexico in a third world compound after abducting children and then starving them. Literally, there was no food in the compound, only a couple potatoes and a box of rice that the cops reported. Obviously those ingredients add up to the insinuation that these guys are a possible terrorist cell. That's the obvious observation. So I wasn't implying anything. But like I said, there's a whole bunch of confusing factors in here what that I laid out to you, the difference between rich and poor, and the fact that the way they're living is fairly common in New Mexico, and the only thing that's making these people are different is that they're Muslim, they're brown, they're poor, and they happen to have made the mistake of abducting his own child, counter to law.
Yeah, I think you'd be able to get your kids to do some panhandling. I mean, food in America isn't that hard to find. If I felt like if somebody came to my door and said, me and my family were hungry, could we have some food? They'd be loaded up. 855-450-3733. Thanks for the call, David. Appreciate it. 855-450-FREE, Free Talk Live.
This November, I'll be running the world's biggest and most popular marathon, the New York City Marathon, as a member of Team Innocence Project. The Innocence Project was the first legal organization to systematically apply DNA testing to cases of wrongful convictions as a powerful tool to reveal innocence. So far in 2018, the Innocence Network has welcomed 32 wrongfully convicted people home from prison for crimes they did not commit and had a record-breaking 850 people unite in Memphis at their annual conference. The movement of freeing the innocent and reforming the criminal justice system is growing and would not be possible without your support. Together as 68 network organizations around the world, they've helped exonerate 513 people who spent a combined total of 7,804 years in prison. They've also worked together to pass over 150 laws in the U.S. to help prevent wrongful convictions. You can support the Innocence Project by going to run.freetalklive.com. That's run.freetalklive.com.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH, with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com. That's wallet.bitcoin.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com. Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. It's a live Sunday edition. Call in and talk about whatever's on your mind. We've been kind of all over the board tonight. Alex Jones, Sandy Hook. Apparently some kids being taken from some kind of Muslim, I don't know, they're calling it a compound out in Texas, I guess.
Wow. New Mexico.
New Mexico. Yeah, this is the problem with being an East Coaster. It all sounds the same to me. Yeah, what are you going to do? You're from Texas. No, you're from Birmingham, but you lived in Texas.
Correct. I lived in Texas for a year and moved here from Texas.
That's right. 855-450-3733.
So, article from Forbes written by former U.S. District Judge from the Eastern District of New York, John Gleeson, says defendants in federal cases face life-changing choices once they've been charged. Plead guilty and take a less severe penalty, or exercise their right to a trial and risk decades or life in prison.
This happens all the time. And I can tell you as, I sort of came from the right wing, as it were. I feel like
Cell Block D was on the right side of the jail.
On the right, the right winger in me says I'd never take a charge that I wasn't guilty of. But the ex-convict in me, and that's certainly true, says, look, I understand. If you're sitting there in county jail, and for those of you who don't know, there aren't much worse incarcerations in the United States than many of the county jails around America. They're overcrowded, and the confinement just stinks. It's all maximum security. It's just awful.
Right.
And in many cases, you go from county jail to the reception center in the state. So that's a prison. You stay there for maybe a month as they decide where you're going to go. And then you go off to a place that's not nearly as bad. You get to walk around a little bit. You'll have some access to a television, perhaps. Maybe it's closed circuit. Who knows what it is exactly. Maybe you'll be able to do some exercise and, just get up and move around, have a job. For God's sakes, having a job is a delight when you've been sitting in county jail confinement for 2 years, in some cases 3 years. So yeah, 100% people who are innocent absolutely positively do take pleas, and that's what's wrong with the system.
Right. And he says it's no wonder that some have begun to ponder whether innocent people are pleading guilty to crimes they did not commit. A new paper published by the National Association for Criminal Defense Lawyers, the NACDL, paper titled "The Trial Penalty: The Sixth Amendment Right to Trial on the Verge of Extinction and How to Save It." He says, we may not know every amendment to the U.S. Constitution, but we all embrace the fact that in the U.S., everyone is entitled to a fair trial by a jury of their peers.
Right, that's the idea. You get a fair trial, jury of your peers. What people don't know, and I'm going to tell you one more time, folks, you take the number of people who are charged in America with a crime, and then you look at the number of people who take that charge all the way through trial, through sentencing, and you have far less than 1% of people end up at trial from a charge. Now, that means that some people, the charges are just dropped.
Right.
Some people, most people take a plea.
Somewhere around 90 to 95% based on numbers that I saw not too terribly long ago.
Take a plea?
Yes.
Wow, I think it's got to be high. Maybe. Which, if you presume...
and that could be of people that don't have charges dropped.
Yeah. I don't know exactly how it works, what the numbers are, but only a fool would say that the judges and prosecutors and police are perfect, right? Only an absolute nut job. Okay, so if that's the case, then we need a system for divining who's guilty and who's innocent. That system isn't. It is not. No. It is not acceptable to say, on one hand, here is a much lesser charge that you feel you can plead guilty to. On the other hand, you may take it to trial and face 10 years. That's not justice, and it's nothing like justice.
Right, and I would challenge anybody. If you've got a day during the week where you don't have to go to work until late afternoon, or maybe you just happen to have a random Wednesday off, go to your local court and sit in at whatever the lowest level court is. And what you will see is somebody get called up for maybe a speeding ticket. How do you plead? Guilty. And then they just, go through this process where the judge asks questions of, did anybody pressure you to take this? Blah, 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 blah. Next person, possession of half an ounce of marijuana. How do you plead? Guilty. 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 Almost everybody. Guilty, 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 guilty. Out of the 30 people that you might see in a morning, there might be one person that actually winds up having some kind of something resembling a trial in front of a judge. And chances are, at the end of that thing, that is basically a cop saying, well, I stopped him, and I smelled some marijuanas, and he had the marijuanas, and that's my story. I'm sticking to it. And then the person saying, well, yeah, he pulled me over for speeding, but I didn't have any weed. And then the judge is going to say, guilty. Or might say, I'll take it under advisement.
And then later he says
go
guilty.
Scribble something on some paper that says guilty, and then they ship that off.
Right. So
very rarely are you going to see somebody where the judge says not guilty.
Right. And so one would presume in a system where the vast majority of people are taking plea bargains, one would presume that the people who actually take it to trial are more likely to be innocent. That's just my guess. But 2/3 of the felonies are found guilty in trial. That's because America just believes they believe experts, right? Cops are experts. Well, it sounds like he probably did it, and I've watched a lot of shows. There's a lot of people who've done a lot of bad things on television, and okay, guilty, yeah, whatever. They sound very believable, and that's the end of the story. The system of plea bargaining only incentivizes two people. It's only good for two types of people. One of them is guilty people.
Yep.
Do you want to create a system that's good for guilty people? Because that's not what I'm looking for.
Right.
I want a system that's good for innocent people.
And this system we have ain't it.
Absolutely not. The United States criminal justice system is broken. So much so that you should no longer call it a justice system.
So
call it a legal
who are
system.
the other people that benefit?
The other person are government bureaucrats, prosecutors.
Yes.
And defense attorneys and these sorts of things. If you want to have a criminal legal system, you need to pay for it, ladies and gentlemen. You can't just say, we're going to get justice and we're going to throw a whole bunch of people in jail and that's going to fix everything. No, by God, that's not. That's a police state. And it's wrong.
There's more here. The article continues, however, going to trial can be a gamble with one's life.
Yeah.
One conclusion reached by the NACDL was that, quote, there is ample evidence that federal criminal defendants are being coerced to plead guilty because the penalty for exercising their right to trial simply is too high to risk.
855-450-3733. Please, your thoughts on this. 855-450-FREE. Do you have any solutions? I'd love to hear them. Free Talk Live.
If you like alkaline water, or know someone that does, you're going to love the Dillon Living Water Bottle. It creates alkaline water on the go while reducing plastic waste and saving you money. Made with surgical-grade stainless steel, the Dillon bottle increases the pH up to 9 to deliver both alkaline and antioxidant water anywhere you want it. Alkaline water is healthier, tastes better, and can even boost energy. The Dillon bottle makes it easy and affordable to be healthy and achieve optimal hydration. Get your Dillon bottle today at dyln.co. That's dyln.co.
Hey, Dave, you in for golf this weekend?
I can't. I promised I'd find a plumber to fix a sink and a painter to paint the...
Just use Angie's List.
Doesn't that cost money?
Not at all. It's free to find pros in your area who can do the work. You can even read ratings and reviews from other customers.
What about roofing pros?
Angie's List has pros for everything. And to save time, they'll even match you to the best pros for the job.
Oh, that's awesome. Looks like I'll be able to play after all.
Find the best pros for your next project at angieslist.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of
where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it! You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. The number to call in if you want to comment on, well, innocent people taking plea bargains or anything else that might be in the news that you're interested in talking about. The number is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. It's Mark with you.
And Darryl.
Want to tell you about Zencash? Zencash is one of these cryptocurrencies you may have heard of. In my opinion, it is a very interesting one, not only because it was made by libertarians like me. They specifically mention the philosophy of voluntarism, which is, it's the hardcore libertarian philosophy. It's right in their white
Belief that
paper.
all interactions should be voluntary.
Yep. They also are singular in that they have 13,000 secure nodes. That's pretty impressive. They allow anonymity in your transactions. That's going to be really important here in the future.
Yes.
If cryptocurrencies get legs and take off and do something, then secure and private transactions are going to be really important. Keep an eye on that, folks. They've got great infrastructure. They get out in front of problems. I like this company, this organization, and their product. You can be involved. Just go get some Zencash. The official Zencash wallet is available for Linux, Mac, Windows, Android devices. Learn more at zencash.com. Zencash.com. I have, I've gone in. Heavily in Zencash and the funds that I manage. So take that for what it's worth, zencash.com.
So we're talking about we're talking about and reading an article from Forbes written by a former federal judge. And the article focuses mainly on the federal system because that's what this guy has experience dealing with. And again, the National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers recently put out a paper, and one of the conclusions that they reached was, quote, there is ample evidence that federal criminal defendants are being coerced into pleading guilty because the penalty for exercising their constitutional rights is simply too high to risk. The federal sentencing guidelines provides for stiff penalties, even life in prison, for a number of crimes that are usually categorized as non-violent. We're talking most drug offenses, white-collar crimes, etc. Some have speculated that President Donald Trump's former campaign manager, Paul Manafort...
When it comes to white-collar crimes, it seems like the public really wants those long sentences, though. And many times these white-collar criminals are in their 50s and 60s, so a 20-year sentence is a death sentence for a 60-year-old, basically.
And then what was Martha Stewart in prison for? Like somebody...
Lying to the FBI.
Right, but wasn't it something like somebody said, hey, Martha, you might want to buy this stock or sell this stock or something?
I don't know the specifics. She was put in prison for lying to the FBI, which, of course, there's no evidence of because the FBI doesn't record its conversations.
Right.
I find that to be a real problem here in modern America where policing organizations don't record conversations.
Yeah. And if you want to hear some other really strange, horrible things that might actually make a grown man cry, listen to the Wrongful Conviction podcast hosted by Jason Flom, who's one of the founders of the Innocence Project, where he's talked to several people that have been exonerated to where the quote-unquote admission of guilt existed solely in the mind of a detective that had gone in and talked to these people. Never called in anybody else in the police station and the precinct and the holding area, didn't write anything down, didn't bring in an audio recording device, nothing. Just goes in, talks to this person that's a suspect,
decides that it's an admission of guilt that he's heard,
and then no, not even interpreted anything that he heard. He will just craft these things as admissions of guilt and then testify on the stand that no, this guy told me blah, da, 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 da. And, of course, the jury believes the detective guy because the detective guy has a badge.
Yeah.
And why would the detective guy lie about something?
God knows. But let's not forget that police are fallible and make mistakes, too. So, I mean, testimony should only be considered some evidence. That's not enough.
Yeah, there have been numerous cases where the only quote-unquote evidence against someone was one person's testimony. Luckily, a bunch of these people have been exonerated through DNA evidence showing that they weren't even at the place, let alone did the crime.
Yeah, but how many times is DNA... so for instance, if you're the boyfriend, the girlfriend ends up dead, your DNA is all over the place.
Right.
And there's no way for you to use DNA to say, well, I didn't do that. They're never going to get that. So that's the real difficulty we have here is trying to
I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm just saying that, it has been used a couple hundred times.
Well, here's the other thing when it comes to a jury of your peers. I'm not saying that it's other countries have it foolproof, but jury of your peers is a relatively unusual idea. Here in the United States, we have it, but around the world, many European countries, they don't have it. I would ask you this. Would you want a panel of 9 morons to do brain surgery on you, or would you rather have a panel of 3 brain surgeons? And if your answer is, I'd rather have 3 brain surgeons working on my brain surgery than a panel of 9 morons, then I would ask you, why would you want 9 civilians sitting on your jury when you could have a panel of 3 judges?
Well, and my understanding is that jury of your peers originally meant your actual peers, a jury of people that know you. Because then, these are people that they know your character. They would, be the ones most likely to be convinced with the evidence that, you know what, it looks like Darryl did the thing.
I think that,
as opposed to just a bunch of random dum-dums that they're already going to be skewed of, well, he's sitting at the defendant's table, he's got to be guilty. They don't arrest people that are innocent.
I think it would be interesting to have some people that knew you on a jury. Like, how would that go? But it's also, you've heard these stories of these serial killers and that sort of thing that, it's no one around them knew. No one had any idea.
Right.
So I don't know.
Continuing on, again, he's talking about federal sentencing guidelines. He said some have speculated that Trump's former campaign manager, Paul Manafort, who is on trial for various fraud and tax charges, could face 300 years in prison if convicted. Author of the article says, I recently attended...
At this point, they appear to be convicting of being rich. I mean, all the testimony I hear on the news, there's basically, they spent wild amounts of money. Look, it looks like wild amounts of money to me, too, but that doesn't make him guilty of anything.
Continuing on, author says, I recently attended what was supposed to be a guilty plea in federal court in Boston. The defendant, who was there on various drug-related charges, sat as a federal judge explained that pleading guilty would amount to waiving his rights to a trial by jury. The plea would likely render a prison term of 30 years, so one can only imagine what the term would be if a jury trial resulted in a guilty verdict. The judge, to his credit, explained in detail how much the government would have to prove in order to convict him, and that a jury might find him innocent. The judge looked at the defendant and said, "Do you understand?" To which the defendant replied, "I'd like to talk to my attorney."
This same thing happened to me when I was charged, and there's no way, all this stuff's passing you by. How can you possibly understand when there's these people who have doctorates in the Juris Doctorate, that, they're talking this legal mumbo jumbo, and they're saying, behind closed doors, they're saying, look, you got to take this plea, otherwise you're screwed.
Right.
And out in the open, they're like saying, it's, you have a right to a fair trial, and we'll make sure you get it. Who knows what's going on with this stuff?
That hearing was adjourned while the defendant considered his options. The author of the article says, the point is, I've witnessed the struggles that people have when they choose to waive their rights when they plead guilty. And then he gets into another case, plus more from the National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers.
And your calls, the number's 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE here on Free Talk Live. Do you operate a retail business and are looking for a solution for point-of-sale cryptocurrency acceptance? It's never been easier thanks to AnyPay.Global. There's no paperwork or approval process to open an account. If you already have a tablet at your cash register, you're almost done. Just sign up at AnyPay.Global. Drop your personal crypto wallet addresses in our setup page, and then load our app. That's it. You're accepting cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Dash at your store. Get started now at AnyPay.Global. That's AnyPay.Global.
Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 13,000 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed secure node systems of any cryptocurrency, and Zencash now has supernodes. Supernodes will bring network, economic, and technical improvements across the network. And the official Zencash wallet is available on Linux, Mac, Windows, and Android devices. Learn more at Zencash.com. Zencash.com.
This is Jessica Armand, creator of the fluoride-free oral care brand, My Magic Mud. You're going to love our new products. Our cutting-edge oral rinses deeply soothe your mouth and fight cavities naturally. Our breath spray, My Magic Mist, will invigorate your senses with essential oils of peppermint and eucalyptus. Our clinically proven toothpaste and tooth powders whiten your teeth and detoxify your mouth. Buy discounted bundles direct at mymagicmud.com and take 10% off with coupon code GCN10. mymagicmud.com.
Hi, I'm Patrick Colbeck, and I'm running for governor. Time for some straight talk. I'm pro-God, pro-family, pro-life, and pro-constitutional carry. As an aerospace engineer, I like to fix things. We need to fix our roads, our schools, our auto insurance, our health care, and our tax policy. That's exactly what I will do if you elect me as your next governor. Principled Solutions prioritize your best interests, not lobbyists. Paid for by Patrick Colbeck for governor.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live shows 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You are free to call in and talk about whatever's on your mind. It's Mark with you.
And Darryl.
The number's 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. If you like Free Talk Live, perhaps you're a libertarian. If you are a libertarian, perhaps you'd like to do business with libertarians or advertise your libertarian business. I've got an idea for you. Check out Liberty.menu. Liberty.menu is a tool for you to be able to find businesses on the internet and perhaps in your community that are, advertising to libertarians. You've got to use Liberty.menu. There's a little, you have to click that you do not initiate, you do not believe in the initiation of force against your fellow man. And as a result, those are the folks, hopefully, they're advertising at Liberty.menu. It's exclusively for people who reject the initiation of force. It's a Liberty.menu. Use code FTL to get a special badge. I mean, it's already free to use. So the badge that we give you is the only perk we can give you. Code FTL will get you a free badge.
And it's not just businesses. It's also events and digital content.
Very good. Liberty.menu. Eric, calling in from Beaverton, Oregon. Eric, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, guys. I had a question about the non-aggression principle slightly.
Sure.
I wanted to get your opinion on, do you feel it's acceptable to aggress against someone if they're conspiring to aggress against you?
Can you give me a little more information besides just the broad strokes here?
Sure. So how about I give a hypothetical scenario?
Okay, so you don't have anything solid in real life. You're just kind of talking about it, right?
Well, kind of. I do, but
most discussion about the minutia of the non-aggression principle is all theoretical.
Right. If I had wings and I was propelling myself forward via my own flatulence, and you also had wings, but you had roller skates and you were propelling yourself forward by your flatulence, then what would happen? So go ahead.
Okay, so let's say a group of Asian guys decide that they hate all white men.
Okay.
And they blame all the issues in the world on white men.
Okay.
And they plan that they want to forcibly remove white men from the United States of America, and if they don't comply, then they're ready for genocide. And then let's say they go on to hold rallies. They go to college universities and talk about how white men are so evil and how white men need to be, removed from the United States to solve all the problems. And then they start stockpiling weapons, and they talk about how they want to normalize racism against white men. And they hold rallies, marching, saying white men won't replace us. At what point do you think it would be acceptable for white men to get together and say, we're not going to let them keep doing this until it's too late?
I guess at that point, I would think it was acceptable to, go to create rallies and do those sorts of things. You couldn't create force beyond the force that has been used against you. And so speaking is an action, and I'm not saying that speaking can't be force. However, I don't think that you can. I don't think it's appropriate to step it up to what has to be killing, right? I mean, beating people up isn't going to do anything. So it has to go. You have to go to basically silence somebody is. So to physically silence somebody is to kill them, as best I can tell. So I don't think that it's appropriate to go to that step that quickly. I can, however, forgive somebody. For instance, if one of these white guys was walking down the street and one of these Asian guys, starts yelling racial epithets at them, while they're with their family or something like that, and it's just really upsetting that they just haul off and punch somebody. I get it in that circumstance. Not that I see that happening too much. So, all right.
Hold on. So I don't think you caught what he was basically painting a picture of. He was describing the alt-right. He was just using the word Chinese people.
Yes, he was. Well, he's saying Asian, but yeah. Not all Asians are Chinese. Not all Chinese are Asian.
True. Forgive me for that misstatement then.
Chinese nationality.
But he's basically describing the alt-right, and one of the questions that some people have asked is it okay to punch a Nazi?
Yeah.
Simply for being a Nazi? And that's really the question you're asking. You're just using slightly different language to ask the question, correct?
Yes.
So what do you think, Eric?
I wanted to make it more
it's okay to punch Nazis?
To you guys.
You wanted to do what?
I'm not. I wanted to make it a bit more relatable to you guys in that hypothetical scenario. Just because I've encountered a lot of people who are talking about people on the left who are so violent and so on and so forth, who are making all these claims, but kind of ignoring the explicit calls for violence by the different neo-Nazi and white supremacist organizations.
Oh, I've been one of the few people in my circles that have mentioned, hey, look at the guys in the alt-right that showed up also looking for a fight, and people are like, no, they just want to talk. No, they're racist a-holes, and they were looking for a fight. They were trying to provoke people because they knew what they were doing. They were trying to provoke a response. You don't get to provoke someone to the point of attack and then claim self-defense. If I come up and I just start swinging my fist towards your face, Mark, but I only come, 1 millimeter away from you, you've got every right to knock me the F out.
Yep, absolutely.
Because I am doing something that is essentially a threat to you.
Yeah, well, I would not be involved.
I don't then get to say self-defense because you punched me before I actually punched you.
Yeah, so the difficulty is that groups are composed of individuals.
Right.
And individuals may be in a place that they probably shouldn't be.
Yes.
And be dealing with, actions that are resulting in them being in a group, if that makes sense. So I could go along as, a plant in one of these organizations intending to find out more news. I just want to find things out. I've done this several times with the cock and bull nonsense that's gone on here in Keene. I've just gone and taken a look Now, if somebody wants to paint me as a Confederate of these folks, I suppose I am a Confederate. But I shouldn't have to deal with whatever the consequences are of their actions simply because I'm there chronicling what's occurred.
Right. That's why I think that, if somebody is going to be at one of these demonstrations as media, they should be clearly marked as media.
It's a good idea.
And should be off to the side. Don't be right in the middle. I understand the point of wanting to be, quote unquote, an embedded journalist. But when you put yourself...
Everybody who went to this event, if we're talking about Charlottesville, if that's what we're talking about, everybody who went to that event on one side was not advocating for violence against whomever it was. They were there over a statue, and they could be these sort of folks that are...
They were there over a statue holding tiki torches yelling, "Jews will not replace us."
Or "you will not replace us." It depends on who was saying what at any given time. Do you think somebody should replace you? And what does that mean? Replace you where?
I don't know.
I don't either.
But the example that the caller was giving of, assume some Asian people were saying white people aren't going to replace us and calling for some sort of genocide. Again, the people in Charlottesville on both sides were looking for a fight, and they found one.
Right. So if you are looking for news that relates to your particular bent and view, you'll find it. So, for instance, right now in Africa, white farmers are being threatened with having their farms taken from them. I imagine that makes some white people here in the United States very upset.
Yes.
I'm not that concerned with it, but I'm interested. I'm following, and I'm going to, what's going to happen here? I don't know. Look. I don't think these Antifa folks are generally good folks, best I can tell. But if you're walking around, if you've got swastikas, you're immediately the bad guy. Once you don the swastika, you're the bad guy. That's the end of the story. And so, please don't make me pick sides. I would prefer not to drink the white poison versus the black poison.
This is why I don't buy into the false left-right paradigm that I know you claim is real and actually exists.
It's real because people believe it.
I can look and say both sides are wrong.
Did you say look and say?
Look and see.
Good. Look and see. Good.
I can look and see, and I can say both sides are wrong.
855-450-3733.
Me saying red team bad does not equal blue team good. Blue team bad too.
Thanks for the call, Eric.
How well and how fast does Heart and Body Extract work to improve blood circulation? Listen.
My name is Ellis, and I am 66 years old, and I live in Jacksonville, Florida. 2 years ago, I was diagnosed as having clogged arteries. I had 70% blockage in one artery leading to my heart. They wanted me to go on Plavix, but I refused, knowing the negative side effects.
Heart and Body Extract is a unique balance, synergy, and proportion of herbs reaching from head to toe at maximum absorption around 95% at the cellular level.
Within the first month, I felt a dramatic difference. The heaviness in my legs was reduced, and within 2 months, I felt completely normal.
Your natural organic herbal formula for heart health is Heart and Body Extract. Heart and Body Extract comes with a 100% ironclad money-back guarantee. Details at hbextract.com or call 866-295-5305 for Heart and Body Extract. Call 866-295-5305, 866-295-5305 for Heart and Body Extract.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, August 5th, 2018. Silver is trading at $15.42 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,213 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $22, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,985. Antiwar.com reports out of Egypt are suggesting that Hamas leadership has accepted a long-term ceasefire deal with Israel on the Gaza Strip. Israel is said to have sent officials to Qatar for talks on the matter, but whether Israel agrees or not is to be decided at a Sunday cabinet meeting. The deal is a multi-phase ceasefire intended to end with a 5 to 10-year ceasefire agreement and negotiations to follow between the two sides. The deal starts with an immediate ceasefire in Gaza, including an end to incendiary kites and balloon flights and border protests. In return, Israel would reopen the Kerem Shalom crossing and Egypt would permanently open the Rafah crossing. Following this immediate move, Hamas and Fatah would return to a reconciliation deal with an eye toward the elections in Gaza in the next 6 months. Finally, the long-term ceasefire would be put in place with improved access to imports for Gazans. Under the agreement, Gaza residents would get access to a seaport and airport, albeit one built in Egypt's Sinai Peninsula. Another power plant dedicated to providing electricity to Gaza would also be built in Sinai. A potential stumbling block is the return of bodies of slain Israeli troops, as the deal suggests this would be a topic of discussion in future Hamas-Israel talks, but some Israeli officials are demanding this as a precondition to any agreement. The long-term ceasefire has been sought for years and has been close in the past, only to be derailed at the last moment by some minor issue. While it is not certain it will survive this time, there seems to be general optimism that this is the case. Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at weusecoins.com. That's weusecoins.com. UPI reports Wells Fargo revealed in a regulatory filing on Friday that a company miscalculation could be the reason for hundreds of foreclosures. The report filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission said 625 customers were incorrectly denied a loan modification or were not offered a modification, all of which should have qualified. Out of those cases, 400 homes were foreclosed, something Wells Fargo defends as might have happened anyway. The report said to make up for the mistake, Wells Fargo has accrued $8 million to remedy affected customers. That amounts to an average of $12,800 per borrower, but the company did not say how much each individual would get or how the compensation would be distributed. Wells Fargo spokesman Tom Goida told the Los Angeles Times all are receiving what the company deems is appropriate given the circumstances. Goida said, "We were very sorry this error occurred," adding that there is not 100% clear cause and effect relationship between the modification denial and the ultimate foreclosure. Goida said he could not say what prompted the review of the loan modifications. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's FANS.fppradio.com. Reuters reports scores of right-wing and anti-fascist demonstrators squared off on Saturday in Portland, Oregon, where 4 people were injured in similar rallies on June 30th. Police tried to keep the two sides apart as protesters chanted and hurled insults at each other. Authorities set up a security perimeter around a waterfront park, and officers frisked attendees and confiscated flagpoles and other potential weapons. Among the right-wing marchers, some of whom wore body armor and carried shields, were members of the Patriot Prayer Group founded by Joey Gibson, a conservative Republican running for U.S. Senate in November's midterm elections. They were opposed by counter-protesters, some dressed in black with face masks, who shouted anti-Nazi slogans. Portland police told people gathered in and around Tom McCall Waterfront Park that no firearms were allowed and that officers would use reasonable force to curtail any assaultive behavior. Police said on Twitter they had seized multiple items that could have been used as weapons. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
This week, the Forest Service rolled out a brand new Smokey the Bear campaign in which the popular mascot burns to death. They say they hope the shocking turn will get people serious about preventing forest fires for once. The new campaign depicts Smokey the Bear noticing a family leave a flame unattended. Before he can put it out, the entire forest is consumed and Smokey dies in agony while trying to fight the blaze. Despite educating the public for over 70 years, the Forest Service says wildfires have only gotten worse and it was time to take their warnings to the next level. The new ads aim to show that if Smokey the Bear can be killed by the very type of fire he works so tirelessly to prevent, it could happen to anyone at any time. So what's next for the long-running campaign? Well, now that their primary spokesperson is out of the picture, the Ad Council says the PSAs will shift focus to a new character named Little Brian. He's the boy whose family caused the fire in the first place, and he's grappling with crippling guilt over Smokey's death.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. You can call in and talk about whatever's on your mind on this live Sunday edition of Free Talk Live. It is Mark with you.
And Darryl.
The number is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Or you can use Skype. Our username is lrn.fm. Or the Discord chat. You'll have to figure that out. Discord is much larger than a call-in line, but you can use it. That's discord.freetalklive.com. Let's go to your calls. Matt calling in from Louisiana. Listen on YouTube. Matt, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, Mark.
What's on your mind?
Hey, Darryl. Well, I listened to your shows over the last week, and I can never be a libertarian.
What part's rubbing you the wrong way?
The borders. I believe in borders, and I know, Mark, what you want to do with borders. And the only thing I ask is if you want to do those things, use lube. Lots of lube.
So what I want to do with borders is to allow anyone to come into the country. They will never be able to vote, and they would never be able to receive government subsidization at all. And so you're saying the culture thing?
I recall you saying something about taking borders and putting them in somebody's nether region. In which, if you want to do that, use lube. Okay, just try to make it comfortable.
Gotcha.
And I believe in patents, and to some extent, I do believe in intellectual property. And I kind of have to, because in the oil industry, patents are really important, especially when you're a really small company like ours, because that's how we survive in our niche in the market, is by having truly innovative products that just make everybody else wonder, how the heck did they do that?
Yeah, I mean, that's one issue is that you want to maintain the monopoly privilege you have of producing the product that you came up with, and I totally understand why people feel that way. But patents run out, right?
And it costs us a lot of money.
Yep.
Because to do these sort of things, because we don't really have a lot of money to spare. It's a tight operation.
There are a lot of industries that don't have patents that still do research and development. Somehow or another they fund it, and being first to market is of value to them for whatever reason.
Right, and then you've got things where Apple and Samsung are constantly taking people or, taking one another back to court because, well, your phone has rounded corners and is kind of rectangular, and our phone has rounded corners and is kind of rectangular, and the federal government says that we get to own rectangles with rounded corners, and you have different screens on your phone, and we have different screens on our phone, and
so there's a lot of dumb things that center around patents, I think is what Darryl's trying to say.
Yes.
You'd agree with that, right, Matt?
Right. But maybe that's a lawyer employment program in disguise.
Well, we don't need those.
Keep the lawyers busy.
They don't produce anything of value. I guess my problem with patents is patents are they're practical issue, not a philosophical issue. So from a philosophical standpoint,
one philosophical issue,
hold on,
I agree with
Matthew. Right. So from just to be clear, a patent when it runs out in 17 years, your idea isn't any better or worse on the 18th year than it was. So why should you not be able to keep exclusivity on that? If exclusivity on that idea is good for the first 17 years, why is it not good for the 18th year? And the answer is because the government decided that length of time was acceptable, and they're going to shove that rule down the throats of everybody.
Patents also rely on, sort of the thinking that multiple people aren't able to independently come up with a similar idea at about the same time.
Yeah, and I've had intellectual property lawyers on the show.
Sure.
Go ahead.
To be sure, it is a race to the patent office.
Yeah.
But the one thing I do agree with libertarians on is the war on drugs. And an incident happened at my church. I go to a Catholic church. I am Catholic. I'm probably one of the very few Catholics who think the way I do. There are probably about 10 of us.
Oh, no, the Mises Institute's full of libertarian Catholics. and the Mises Institute tends to support borders.
Right. Okay, well, how about that?
Just saying.
They have to. So 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago to be precise now, the general prayers included a prayer to end gun violence. And I cringed.
Well, I'd like to see gun violence ended. That'd be awesome.
I'd like to see all violence ended.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be great?
Government's not the way to end violence.
Well, prayer might be.
We pray all the time for the end of violence.
Yep.
But the term gun violence is such a media metaphor.
Oh, yeah.
So I had a chance to talk to the deacon, and I said, when you say gun violence, don't you really mean the violence in the streets of New Orleans that are caused by the war on drugs? And it was like I gave him a thought that he never thought of before. He was like, I never thought of that. And it's amazing to me that people don't realize the damage that's being done to our society by these stupid social wars against human behavior that could be solved in other ways.
Well, everybody, has blind spots, and everybody hasn't thought of every possibility. But at the same time, there's just a class of people who spend a lot of time trying to think about how to solve society's ills. And you're one of those types of people, Matthew, just like Darryl and I. Other people are spending time thinking about, I don't know, what do they think about in WWE? Who's hit whom and what the stories are. Anyway, they've got whatever their stories are, and they're thinking about that stuff. And I guess I can't blame them for it, but all you can do is bring people to new ideas as gently as you can. Thanks for the call, Matthew. Appreciate it. The number's 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Melvin calling in from Winnipeg. Melvin, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hello?
Hello, Melvin. You're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Hi. So I just called in because I've been watching your show for a while.
You've watched the show for a while?
Yeah.
Okay, it's hard for me to hear you. I'm sorry, the audio's bad.
Go ahead with your thoughts.
Is this better?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Is better?
Yep.
Go ahead with your thoughts.
Okay, so I'm not sure actually. Can you talk about a different subject?
You want a different subject than what?
You're the one that called in, and we're asking you, what do you want to talk about?
Oh, NBA. You like sports?
The NBA?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like LeBron James. What's up?
Hey, LeBron James?
Yeah, I like him. I think he's great.
Oh, me too. Nigger.
Yeah, you can't do that on the radio. We're actually on broadcast radio. There are certain words you can't say.
For those that think that you're going to get us, first off, we've been doing this for 15 years, likely as long as Melvin's been alive, or at least, not nursing from his mother. We know when pranks are going to occur. We know what prankers are going to do. And pranks are fine.
Yeah.
Be funny. Don't just say a bunch of silly words.
Yeah.
Okay? I've got a dump button here. I'm going to dump you. You're not getting anywhere. I think, Ian, did that go on the live stream at all or nowhere? Nothing. Nothing. Twitch got it. The Twitch stream got it.
Ooh.
Big fat hairy deal, pal.
Twitch. One of the places trolls live.
Yeah, please prank Free Talk Live. Please prank Free Talk Live. But prank it well. Don't prank it poorly.
Like, come up with some sort of thing to where you're a time traveler, you're curious, what's this weird device that I saw somebody holding that, it gave them all kinds of info and they said, okay, Google, and it talked back.
Whatever it is. Be funny, be interesting. Question our opinions. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Just going on and saying silly words, it doesn't impress anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Just a little note to the prankers out there. We don't hate you. But we're prepared for your butts. Free Talk Live. 855-450-3733.
And Mark has lube.
855-450-FREE. You're on Free Talk Live.
From the sixth letter of Captain Mark. A pirate's life is characterized by voluntary interactions. Unfortunately, the Crown presses everyone into involuntary servitude. Landlubbers believe slavery was abolished years ago, but the Crown still claims to own us when it crimps us into service against our will. Given sufficient ambition, it would gladly draft thousands of hapless victims to kill or be killed. It's simply slavery by another name. Landlubbers are routinely commanded to serve the so-called justice system in jury duty. But before you swell with civic pride, consider that how you feel is irrelevant to the Crown. You will appear as ordered or face punitive measures. The Crown insists that you participate in your own oppression. A jury summons provides pirates with a unique opportunity to obstruct injustices. A juror can vote not guilty, even if it's proven the law was violated. A juror can acquit for any reason at all, and not even a judge can reverse that verdict. Receiving a jury summons is basically winning the sedition lottery. But if you reveal that you know this during jury selection, you'll probably be dismissed. If the Crown foolishly crimps a pirate into jury duty, it behooves the pirate to conceal their intention to nullify unjust laws. If a master takes 100% of your labor, it's called slavery. But if they only take 50%, they call it taxation, a difference of degree, not of kind. Whether the Crown claims a fortune or a cent is irrelevant. Most of all, a slave owner desires contented slaves, meaning thoughtless ones that accept their bondage. These house slaves see no contradiction in being drafted in a war to end slavery or summoned to a jury to prosecute tax evasion. An ideal slave knows no higher call than the master's will. The Crown's highest ambition is that its slaves revere the authority that subjugates them. But the Crown does not own me. I will not surrender my time and treasure to the Crown's ambitions. Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can call in and talk about whatever's on your mind. It's Mark with you.
And Darryl.
The number is 855-450-3733. We will get back into the article about innocent people taking plea bargains and why they do it. But I want to tell you, before we get into the calls here, I'm going to take some calls. And before I do that, I want to talk to you about cryptotip.org. So what we think here at Free Talk Live, that the idea of tipping people, servers, taxi cab drivers, the sort of people that you tip, right, with cryptocurrency is a good idea for spreading cryptocurrency around. And in addition to a cash tip.
Yes.
Because you want to give them a real tip, like a tip that they can use or whatever. They just don't think it's some kind of weird tract or whatever. But you can give a crypto tip too. And then it has instructions on how to install a wallet right there on it. It allows them to claim the amount you put in the tip. And if they don't claim the cryptocurrency that you have in the tip, by the way, Bitcoin Cash, I believe I'm going to be the first to announce this. Bitcoin Cash is now integrated into cryptotip.org. But you get your tip refunded after a period of time that you specify. Hold on, Ian. Yep, go ahead.
There's a bug with Bitcoin Cash.
Shoot.
So
Oh, no.
We're ready to go public with that quite yet.
Not quite ready to go public. Well, it shows that we're working hard on it. Cryptotip.org is basically Ian's project. He believes so thoroughly in these ideas that he's making this happen. And it makes me proud to work with this guy. Yeah, he can be irritating. There's no doubt. He's a weirdo. But he's a really dedicated weirdo that
Aren't we
works
all
very,
weirdos?
very hard. That's what the weirdos say, Darryl. Cryptotip.org. Let's go to Bad Slave calling in on Skype. Bad Slave, you're on
Hi.
Free Talk Live.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes.
The first thing is our good friend Cantwell.
Christopher Cantwell, yes. Former co-host, fired for racist tweets and stuff.
I have followed him since the moment he stepped into New Hampshire at the Thursday night comedy night that he was a headliner for at the Liberty Forum in 04 or 05 or I don't know what year it was, maybe 07. No, it wouldn't have been, maybe 08. It was 08, maybe it was 08. I don't know.
So about a
Probably
decade
08.
ago or so.
Yeah, and I actually talked with them, gave him a ride to the party afterward at the Quill. I kind of just, we bonded a little bit, and I've been following him all this time. Not closely, but I stay in touch with him. He knows me, and I can't really, make him a bad guy. I can't do it.
Can't dislike him? All right.
Right. And so you've got this guy coming up with this scenario about the Asians and, all of that.
Guy called in previously, basically asking when is it acceptable to use violence against a group of people who advocate for violence. Yep.
And I don't know. I have actually Cantwell was a leader in that whole event. They had everything signed up. Everything was, they had their whole program put together. The Antifa people crashed the party. You agree, right?
Look, I did not look thoroughly enough into the Charleston thing, Charlottesville thing. And we haven't had the Antifa people calling in to defend their side of the story, so all I get is the other side. And I'm just not willing to go take one. Here's my thought. If you went to that rally, whatever side you were on, you were probably looking for a fight. I'm not saying everybody, but probably is the word I would use. I didn't go.
So,
you didn't go.
So here's what we know for a fact. Is that Cantwell himself, as well as many others, were armed.
Yeah.
And that never got used, right?
Best I can tell, no one got shot. Yep.
Whatever reaction those guys engaged in reacting to Antifa and Black Lives Matter and whatever, those reactions were measured. If there was pepper spray, they both used pepper spray. But it was
somebody may have used a billy club against pepper spray. I don't know. You don't know.
Yeah, well, I think a billy club and a pepper spray are commensurate, force to force.
Which is worse in those cases.
But there might have been an Antifa person who had a gun, too, who chose not to use it. Using a gun in that circumstance would have escalated the violence.
Kind of less likely, although there did show up some Antifa people with guns at some other event somewhere else. But the fact is that the people that were on so-called right or whatever that wanted to protect the
statue
monuments, those people were determined to not start anything. I don't know if you realize that, but I actually paid attention to there was a reporter that was there through the whole thing. And there was a 3-hour interview with Cantwell that I
did watch that. Yeah, no, not the full interview, but excerpts of it. Yeah,
right. And then there was a bunch of video of what happened, and Cantwell and as a leader, and I'm fairly certain that most of the other guys, they may have skewed understandings of human rights and stuff like that, but they were intent to not.
It would be unwise to be the one initiating the confrontation in that
Bullies
circumstance.
Generally also don't think that they're starting fights.
Probably true. Look, here's my advice for the future. I don't know what happened. So
you know none of them.
But wait a second. Okay, Cantwell has pled to a charge. I can put this behind me now, and I can look towards the future. And what I'm concerned with is my listeners. And here's my advice to listeners: don't go to these events.
Yes. Okay. See, this is one of the problems. This is one of the problems with this whole collectivist group think sort of thing is
of course
people are trying to say, well, this person was on this side and this and that, so therefore the entire side. No, look at people individually. What were each individual person's actions? And yes, I realize that when you get stupid people in groups, bad decisions are going to be made. So maybe, the guy standing in the complete middle of the group didn't necessarily intend to start a fight, but I can guarantee you one person there intended to start a fight and then convinced other people to start a fight, and fights happened.
And that's
people
how we had
went
the American
looking for
Revolution.
fights.
And we also know, Darryl, that in fact the Antifa and Black Lives Matter people were the ones that were
They were all looking for fights. Thank you for the call. This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733.
This is Jessica Armand, founder of My Magic Mud. Our team helped organize a successful effort to remove fluoride from our city's water supply. This is our passion. My Magic Mud Oral Care purifies and brightens your smile naturally. GCN listeners, please support my family business by purchasing our products from your local health food store. We're also available at CVS Pharmacy, or visit us at mymagicmud.com and take 10% off now with coupon code GCN10.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Overburdened with material comforts, America's wealthy can expect another disappointing holiday this year. As Brian Scott tells us, the rich will simply be buying too many things to experience the true meaning of Christmas.
All across the country, those at the top of the economic ladder are denied a privilege that the poorest of the poor take for granted. Rather than fall victim to the rampant consumerism that seems to increase each year, the poor find meaningful joy in simple Christmas traditions, like singing carols to keep warm and hugging relatives who have not yet died. At stores like these, the spiritually bereft must scramble for popular holiday toys in a vain attempt to duplicate the Christmas-time happiness that the impoverished enjoy.
Poor people are grateful for just a roof over their heads or something to eat. My wife and I are both lawyers, so that's not enough for us. Certainly hope poor people don't take what they don't have for granted.
This is the Onion News Network.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadati.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. It's live Sunday edition. Just had Bad Slave on the line talking about Antifa and Nazis and these sorts of things. And, I really don't like picking sides between, well, for one, if
they're both wrong.
Right. They're certainly both wrong. But I've got this to say. If I had to have a physical confrontation with the Nazi at Charlottesville, if it was in Charlottesville and I had to have a physical confrontation, I feel like the Nazi would say, I disagree with you and I'd like to fight physically, man to man, straight up fisticuffs or whatever, right? Whereas I feel like the Antifa, as I've seen them in Charlottesville and around the nation at different events, it's not certainly, this is about groups, right? But I feel like the Antifa would be much more prone to hit me in the back of the head with a brick without ever knowing what I thought specifically. And to me, I guess I'd rather have a brave moron than a cowardly moron to deal with. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I'm sitting over here thinking, why we got to be fighting?
Well,
in your hypothetical, there's just like the stupid thing, and I love the trolley memes. I'm obsessed with them.
You got to tell people what a trolley meme is.
All right, so the trolley meme, it goes from this philosophical question of, you happen to be standing next to a lever on some train tracks, and if you do nothing, then 5 people will get run over by this train, or you can pull the lever and 1 person gets run over. What do you do?
Right, it's a 1 person on another track.
Right.
So presumably, if you do nothing, you are not at fault, right?
So my question to all of these stupid hypotheticals is, why am I next to the lever? Like, is it my job to guard the lever? How did the people get on the track? So I've got all of these questions about these stupid hypotheticals. I don't like playing your stupid hypothetical game. So in yours about you've got to fight somebody, why do I have to be in a fight? I'm not showing up to these stupid rallies.
Okay, I believe in the individualist philosophy. And therefore, I'm sort of against all this stuff that we're talking about. I don't think that most of the people... You know what? Those Nazis would have ripped my flesh from my bones when they found out I'm the guy that got Cantwell fired, or at least he says that I am, or whatever. I am clearly not on the side of the marchers, the right-wing marchers, or whatever they are, whatever they identify as, white nationalists. Yeah. I don't care, in Charlottesville. However, the Antifa folks... appear to be completely against free speech. And so
I think that's the narrative that,
I debated a college professor who said that non-white, non-male people have less power, so they need to be given more power through speech. We need to legally and forcibly limit the speech that white males, white heterosexual males use in order to further empower people who are not those.
Okay, that guy's a nut job.
No, that guy's not uncommon, okay? This is the narrative as it exists today, is that free speech is... this society is too far evolved for free speech. We need new restrictions on speech. We have restrictions. Those restrictions include threats and libel and blah, 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 blah. So we just need a new one. And that one is, well, you're not allowed to say racist things, and I define what racist is. And you're not allowed to say, which the problem with laws is you're never the one who defines it.
Right.
And so racist will, like, you don't even get to define the term racist. Racist is now being defined not as somebody who believes that one race is superior to another race in a given activity, but as something that can only be said by white people. Only people in power can say racist things, and white people have the power, so black people or Hispanic people or Asian people simply can't say racist things. This is what this new Sarah Juong, who's being reported into, or is being upgraded into the New York Times editorial board or whatever, this is what's being said about her. I mean, her tweets are clearly and obviously racist. One of them is like, it's sick how much joy I get out of messing with old white men or something. Now, in all likelihood, many of these old white men fought the Korean War in order to, I don't know, keep her country from being overrun by the communists. But whatever, that's it. Consequential.
Right. And again, this is one of the problems of collectivism.
Indeed. Race is just the color of your skin. And then you decide everything else beyond that. And I don't care about the color of your skin. It's completely inconsequential to me. The number is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE.
So should we get back into the article from Forbes about why sometimes innocent people take guilty pleas?
Yes.
So again, the article comes from a former judge, John Gleason, former U.S. District Judge for the Eastern District of New York, and he's citing a report put out by the National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers. And again, they stated there is ample evidence that federal criminal defendants are being coerced to plead guilty because the penalty for exercising their constitutional rights is simply too high to risk.
And I would say the federal courts are even worse than the state courts on this, at least the state courts that I'm familiar with. The federal courts are awful as far as, plea bargains and that sort of thing.
The NACDL in their report cited the case of Christian Allmendinger. Allmendinger was involved in a complex case of purchasing life insurance policies. He was partners with another guy, Brent Onicle. Onicle pled guilty and was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Allmendinger made the mistake of going to trial where Onicle testified against him. Allmendinger was found guilty and sentenced to 45 years in prison. Onicle had his sentence reduced to 5 years because of his testimony. The author
Two guys
says,
did the same thing, presumably. Two guys equally guilty. One does 5 years, one does 45?
Yes. And they were partners in the crime.
Yeah. And this just goes to show what is so wrong with these systems.
Right. And that's what the judge here says. It's disparities like this that are just a few of the reasons we have a growing issue with our criminal justice system. Other findings from the NACDL, guilty pleas have replaced trials for a very simple reason. Individuals who choose to exercise their right to a trial face exponentially higher sentences if they invoke the right and lose.
I think
Faced
that
with this choice,
juries should be informed of any plea bargains that are offered.
Oh, they should be, but they will never be.
No.
Because the prosecutors are friends with the politicians that make the laws, and the politicians aren't going to wind up, allowing the jury to know that. In a lot of cases, the jury is prohibited from knowing what the penalty could be.
Yeah, in some cases that's true. In other states, juries actually mete out the sentence too, depending on the charge and that sort of thing.
But normally that sentencing is determined after the guilty verdict, and they don't know what the penalty is until after.
Yeah.
And then there was a case of the Amish farmer, I think in Wisconsin, that his only of all of these charges he was facing that all involved selling of raw milk. The only charge that he was convicted of was the tampering of evidence because he dared cut the evidence tape off of the refrigerator that this raw milk was in, and he did that so that the raw milk would not spoil. And several of the jurors said, had we known, at the end of the trial what we knew at the beginning of the trial, then we wouldn't have found him guilty on that one either. Faced with the choice of higher penalties if you go to trial, individuals almost uniformly surrender their right to trial rather than insist on proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Defense lawyers spend most of their time negotiating guilty pleas rather than ensuring that police and government agents respect the boundaries of the law, including proof beyond a reasonable doubt, and judges dedicate their time to administering plea allocutions rather than evaluating constitutional aspects of the case.
Free Talk Live, 855-450-3733. How do we solve this?
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH, with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com. That's wallet.bitcoin.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
It's been said, any society is only 3 missed meals away from chaos. Those times may be near. Think about it. Our country faces multiple terrorist threats and aggressions from Russia and North Korea. Social unrest and violent marches yet again may lead to looting of stores and city shutdowns. And our crumbling infrastructure leaves our power grid vulnerable to long-term outages from a single cyber attack. When the chaos from any one of these threats arises, the government knows it can't provide during a widespread national emergency. That's why you need your own plan for self-reliance. That's where My Patriot Supply comes in. Get a 4-week survival food supply for only $99. That includes breakfast, lunches, and dinners. Order online at preparewithgcn.com. $99 for 4 weeks of survival food that tastes like homemade cooking and lasts up to 25 years. From My Patriot Supply. Get your kits today at preparewithgcn.com. Free shipping is included. Preparewithgcn.com.
Hey guys, Mark Claire here, lionsofliberty.com, where we strive to advance the ideas of liberty daily. We bring you the Morning Roar. That's right, every Monday to Friday we'll have a brand new edition of the Morning Roar, where we provide a roundup of some news stories that you may not find in the mainstream media or even in your typical social media newsfeed. We find stories that relate to the ideas of liberty and provide you with our liberty perspective on them. Every Monday, we have our longest-running feature, Mondays with Murray, named after the great libertarian Murray Rothbard, where we'll examine an article or an excerpt from his works and help convey his view, along with our little spin as well. We wrap it all up every Friday with Felony Friday, where our own John Odermatt goes out and takes a look at some sort of felony. There's felonies committed every day, you know, whether it's a felony committed by the police, a politician, or even an average citizen. You can find all of this and so much more over at lionsofliberty.com. Advancing the ideas of liberty daily.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. It's a live Sunday edition. If you're listening between 7p and 10p Eastern Time, anywhere in the world, any day of the year, you can call
Boxing
in.
Day.
What's that?
Boxing Day.
Boxing Day, and always Boxing.
Christmas Day.
Yep, always Boxing. Always Christmas
Easter.
Day. Yep, whatever it is. You can call
Summer
in.
Solstice.
The number 855-450-3733 here on Free Talk Live. Darryl, you're finishing up an article about why innocent people take plea bargains, specifically at the federal level.
Yes.
I think that's important because, well, the federal level has got to be the worst for this.
And again, the article from a former judge from the Eastern District of New York, and he's citing a report from the National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers who called out U.S. Attorney Preet Bharara. That name might sound familiar to listeners of this show because Preet Bharara, he's the guy that prosecuted the case against Ross Ulbricht. The NACDL, however, called him out because he dared to acknowledge that federal sentencing guidelines were often severe for white-collar crimes, but he then went on to propose harsher penalties for those who were involved in criminal charges where there were no actual losses, so think insider trading. The fact is that prosecutors are winning cases, again, because of plea deals, and they say 97% of defendants plead guilty. Even those pleas are resulting in longer prison terms. So what is the solution? They say it's complex. Often cooperating co-defendants are powerful witnesses and the only way to catch those who are truly guilty. In addition, our federal justice system is currently unable to keep up with the current caseload. So if the defendants that choose to plead guilty went down from 97% to 90%, the courts would be overwhelmed. He concludes there's no such thing as a perfect criminal justice system, but a healthy one is constantly introspective, never complacent, always searching for injustices within, and determined to address them.
I don't think the American people are interested in injustices. I just don't think they are.
Yeah.
I don't think they're ready to look at that. I think that it's about lock them up, throw away the key. I don't want to think about this. I don't like this. You're interfering on my brain space.
Right. And as an example, that people aren't, a large percentage of people aren't concerned about injustices. A lot of times when people speak out about some of the problems in the criminal justice system, they get referred to as, you're just one of those social justice warriors, and it's a way to shut somebody up.
Yeah, just a term that's used. Yes,
I am concerned about social justice. When you've got people that are being incarcerated for crimes that they did not commit, and there's evidence showing that they did not commit these crimes, then yes, I'm concerned about justice for those people. When you have people that are pleading guilty to crimes that they did not commit because they're being told, if you plea, then you go home, but if you say you're innocent, then you go to prison.
Right.
That is a problem.
Our justice system has turned into an enabling mechanism for the prison industrial complex. And that perversion is only going to get worse, not better. What kind of America do you want to leave for your kids? Because I can tell you this. Brave men and women have died throughout the generations to provide you with the Bill of Rights. Much of those Bill of Rights are centered around jurisprudence and fair courts. So, are you as brave as those people? I don't care if you'll take a bullet on a battlefield. I care whether or not you will verbally defend the Bill of Rights. And if you're not willing to do that, as far as I'm concerned, you shouldn't even be able to call yourself an American. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Let's go to Sarah calling in New Mexico. From New Mexico. She is in New Mexico, but she's calling, whatever. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yeah, I just want to say that, New Mexico has become like a very undesirable place to live, and when everybody's moving out, what happens is that the prices go down on food and all the items.
Yeah.
It's like the reverse from New Hampshire. You guys are very expensive because everybody they're moving up there and they want to live there, right?
What's expensive?
New Hampshire, your state.
You can't buy the state. It's not for sale.
Well, see, it's all of New England, like Manhattan.
Do you mean
Boston
milk?
is very expensive.
Do you mean rentals? Do you mean what are you talking about? What's expensive?
But the rent, the food, clothes, everything gets expensive when a lot of people want to live there. There's more demand of people coming over there.
I haven't looked at prices, but it's a big state, and well, it's not the biggest of states, but even a small state is a big state. And there are better, wealthier and poorer places. If you go on to Realtor.com, you look up Berlin, New Hampshire. That's Berlin, spelled like Berlin.
Right.
We don't pronounce it that way here. Berlin, New Hampshire.
Because of Germany.
You will find housing that is as low as $30,000 a house.
You'll probably find houses cheaper than that. But, Sarah, you sort of, and I want to make sure that I heard this correctly. You said that when demand goes up, prices also go up? Is that what you said?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, for example, what I'm saying, my
yeah,
point
that's
is
completely
that
opposite to what. No, when
they're
demand
moving
goes
out
up,
of Mexico.
prices
Okay,
generally
people are
go
moving
down.
Out of New Mexico.
Okay, people are moving out of New Mexico, so demand is going down.
People are moving out of New Mexico.
Yes.
Okay, 56,000 people have moved out of New Mexico. Nobody wants to live here.
Why?
So that my pizza.
Why?
Well, you know what? Well, I mean, how about this? 3,000 cars were stolen here in Albuquerque, and that's like decreased by 16%. We're number one with the least amount of police officer per population on average. We hardly have any police. We have.
I live in a town in New Hampshire that doesn't have. I lived in a town in New Hampshire that didn't have any police.
Well, you know what? I have no idea, but everybody's moving out so that my pizza, my sardines used to cost like $1.30. Now it's $1. My CC's Pizza buffet used to be $7.50. Now I go in there for $7.
So you're saving money. Why are you complaining?
Well, she's looking at a phenomenon and she's calling in about it.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not complaining about it. It's a phenomenon. You know. It's a phenomenon.
It sounded like you were complaining that your cost of living is now cheaper.
So if people are moving out, then people are moving out. You have to kind of look at why. Most people are moving south as opposed to north.
Right.
New Mexico, maybe I don't know. I couldn't tell you precisely, but people are moving to Texas. They are moving to Arizona. So why would they be moving out of New Mexico? I can't answer that, Sarah. But it's something that.
And I'm saying that the trend is going upwards for New Mexico.
Okay. That makes sense, being a southern state.
Well, I don't know, but, I can't really put a definite finger on it. But, just because your food gets cheaper doesn't mean that your city has gotten better. You know what I'm talking about? Just because everybody's moving out.
Okay, so now you're talking about something different, because at first you were saying that prices are cheaper, and now you're saying the city is different.
Well, the thing is, okay, so the things get cheaper doesn't mean that your city has gotten better. I mean, your quality of life has gotten better. I mean, things are cheaper. Yeah, there's more space. There's less people walking on the sidewalk.
All those things sound good. Fewer people to deal with and lower prices sounds like a higher quality of living.
Again, the populations for all of New Mexico have gone up over the last decade. Now, population in a specific neighborhood or a specific city may have changed.
Maybe people are moving out to the burbs, Sarah.
But that doesn't mean that people are leaving all of New Mexico because they left downtown Albuquerque.
Well, we are a population increase because we have more babies being born than people being died from old age. But there's no jobs here. They're all moving out.
Well, the jobs are... America's got its lowest unemployment in 8 years. Yeah.
The numbers don't show that people are fleeing New Mexico, Sarah.
Well, they're moving out. And they get to... See, I have no car. I have no car for them to steal. So I could live here. I have no kids. We have, like, the worst schools. They're all moving out with their kids. There's reasons. Just because everything's cheaper, it doesn't mean that your
What is your source that people are leaving New Mexico? Because that is not what I am seeing.
Well, what's the percentage? No, we have the lowest population increase surrounding
the
states.
Lowest increase. Okay, so it's still an increase. Lowest increase does not mean a decrease. Do you understand what words mean?
Some states, thank you for the call, Sarah. Some states are actually decreasing in population. I mean,
New Mexico is not one of them.
Yeah, well, I think that her thing is that low prices aren't always good or something.
I don't know what her point was.
Yeah.
I don't know if she had one.
Well, check out freetalklive.com. Perhaps you can find a point. It's been Mark with you.
And Darryl, and we'll be back tomorrow.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with AgristHosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to AgristHosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's AgristHosting.com.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at